I would love to hear the story of 10th Planet. Todd on a podcast recently was talking about it. Just talking about like, well, technically Starfield isn't the first time we took a stab at this, because we did 10th Planet back in the day, that project that never released. What was your perspective on that game?
Well, that was my personal Waterloo. So I like to tell people I've been hired, I've been fired, I've been promoted, I've been demoted, I've been laid off. Anything that can happen to an employee, I've had happen.
Okay.
And fired was the thing that happened to me with 10th Planet. Basically, Chris Weaver had a friend, acquaintance, never really sure, but someone that he knew named Dean Devlin, who is a Hollywood guy. And his big claim to fame is he wrote the script for Independence Day 4.
Okay. Wait, Independence Day 4?
Independence Day? Was there not a 4 after it?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. It released on July 4th. So the number 4 was associated
with it. That's right. The logo, I think, even. Okay.
That's right. So it was Independence Day. And Dean gave Chris Weaver a treatment for a video game. And I don't remember how long it was, but it was not more than 3 pages. Very, very, very short.
Okay.
And it was an idea that was well suited to the 80s. And this was the 90s. Sorry, Dean. And when I had been at TSR, I had done well for myself by taking on unloved projects. So my boss always appreciated the fact that I was willing to step in front of a bullet, take one for the team, and do a project that nobody else wanted to do. What I failed to realize is that when your projects take 1 to 6 months, eating one for the team is a viable strategy. When a project takes years, it is not. And so I agreed to do 10th Planet when I should have run screaming into the night. And the opening lines of Dean's premise will probably stick with me till the day I die. The invaders' sonic beams brought down the Capitol dome on Pluto. Mm-hmm. There are so many things wrong with that sentence. But to be fair to Dean, in the 80s, this kind of thing, nobody would have batted an eye at.
Sure.
Science fiction didn't really have science in it. It just had fiction.
And Independence Day doesn't have a ton of science in it, if I dare say so myself.
It does not.
Sure.
It does not. But it has more than that sentence does. So the premise of the game was that there's a 10th planet in the solar system, which actually is something that, is viable to talk about. That's not bad. And that it had a very hyperbolic orbit that brought it within range of the sun and Earth once every 1,000 years or so. And that the last time this had happened, they had made contact with the Aztecs.
Okay.
So we were actually ahead of our time doing the movie that later became 2012, the Apocalypse 2012, whatever that Mayan apocalypse game was. Oh. Only ours was aliens are now invading.
Okay.
And Earth, which had, although the year wasn't set in 2012, it was set in some unknown year. Earth had settled all the planets of the solar system, including Pluto, apparently, and had demilitarized completely. So what they had to do was go get all the old F-16s and retrofit them for space travel.
Yeah, hell yeah.
To fight the aliens. Are you feeling the 80s vibe?
Well, also, it's like, those are F-16s in Independence Day, right? It's just like the writer really into F-16s because of the success of Independence Day?
Could be.
Okay,
Could
sure.
Be.
Awesome.
I don't know. I don't know Dean Devlin. I've never been in the same room with him.
Okay.
So here I am, a true fan of science fiction and a science guy. I mean, I'm an amateur astronomer. I very much dearly love science and astronomy in particular. And I'm sitting at my desk with my head in my hands going F-16s in space, Capitol domes on Pluto, sonic beams in an airless world. How the hell am I going to do this? And so started to put together a plan for making a game. But the problem is that the admin for Bethesda wanted a game that could be done in 9 months. And new IP, science fiction, space combat game from scratch in the era of Wing Commander.
Yeah.
Not going to be done in 9 months. And so a year and a half later, we were still a year and a half out from shipping. And the company said, this is not working out. And, you need to go apply your trade someplace else. And a couple other people got the X2 and 10th Planet.
Oof. And that was the end of it. It wasn't put on indefinite hold or anything. It was absolutely dead.
No. I'm sure for legal purposes, they held on to, trademarks and other materials, but it was never going to see the light of day. And it caused serious harm to the nascent Bethesda Softworks at the time, and probably was a contributing factor to them eventually selling to ZeniMax.
Oh, weird. That really shaped the course of history there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that for a fact because I wasn't with them.
Sure.
That's the backroom stories that I've heard.
How far along was 10th Planet? How playable was it?
You had spaceships that you could build and adapt. The frame was locked in. The body of it was locked in, but you could add different guns and shields and engines and things. And you could do some fights. And we were just beginning to build the entire solar system. But in terms of, didn't have a story yet. Although we were looking to do a Wing Commander type thing where the story was really light. It was mostly go around and shoot a bunch of stuff up.
Okay. Maybe FMVs even thrown in there?
Pardon?
Some FMVs thrown in there? Like real videos?
But, I mean, we didn't know who the aliens were.
Sure.
We didn't have the alien ships. We didn't know. There was a lot of stuff that we didn't know. So we were maybe 50% of the way through.
Okay. Which
means I should have scoped the game a lot smaller. I should have never agreed to do it in the first place. Because you don't go into a game that the boss thinks it should take 9 months, knowing you're going to take well over a year, and then end up finding out, well, it's probably going to be like well over 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you get fired and you got to own it.
Yeah.
So I got fired and I have to own it.
That's a tough one. Was Todd Howard on that project?
No. He was way too smart to be a part of that. He ran screaming into the night and worked on something else.
Smart. Did you pull anything from 10th Planet when you started working on Starfield? Did you talk about 10th Planet when the studio started working on Starfield?
Nope.
It was not hey, funny story. We've technically tried to make one of these before.
Well, I mean, Todd was there when it was made. I was there when it was made.
Yeah.
Kurt Coleman was there when it was made. I think I'm at the end of my list.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the end of the list. On the dev team, that's it. Those 3 people.
Okay, so this was a legend at that point.
Yes. So all we took away from it were the bad feelings of let's not do anything like that again. Let's try and do it right.
Would have been cool to have one F-16 ready to go in Starfield, though. Just one.
Yeah, they love putting Easter eggs in. Having an F-16 sitting mothballed in some dusty bin somewhere, that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Hell yeah. If you thought, hey, this video wasn't bad, well, there's a whole lot more like it on MinnMax's YouTube channel. Please help us out by subscribing to our channel and checking out the MinnMax Show podcast, also available on your favorite podcast app, the best, most thorough discussion about games on the internet with the deepest dive, our monthly community trivia show with prizes called Trivia Tower, and a whole lot more. Thanks so much for your support, everybody. All you gotta do is click that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it.